Welcome to Higher Education Marketing Insider, brought to you by the Higher Education Marketing Institute. Today, we're unpacking how AI answer engines, ChatGPT native ads, and frictionless enrollment are rewriting the playbook for college marketing and admissions. If you're still optimizing for the old 10 blue links world, you're missing where the real decisions are happening.
Let's be blunt. Discovery in higher ed is now mediated by AI systems long before a student ever lands on your homepage. Prospective students are meeting institutions through single AI-generated answers, not brand campaigns or homepage hero images. That's a seismic shift. And it's not just theory. This is showing up in the data and in the way enrollment leaders are being measured.
The latest research from the Higher Education Marketing Institute makes it clear. To win the discovery moment, your institution needs to be the canonical, machine-readable source for program, cost, and outcome data. If AI can't confidently cite you, you're invisible at the moment that matters.
And that's not just about SEO anymore. Answer engine optimization, or AEO, is quickly overtaking traditional rankings for program discovery. The new game is about being the answer, not just being in the list of links. According to HEMI, this means publishing atomic facts, using named anchors, providing downloadable JSON, and consolidating your program pages so there's no ambiguity for either bots or humans.
Let's break that down. When HEMI talks about atomic facts, they mean mapping one question to one authoritative answer on a single page. No more sprawling program content across half a dozen subdomains and PDFs. Instead, you want a central data index, clean sitemaps, and structured data that's readable by both AI systems and students on mobile.
And it's not just technical hygiene. It's about trust. Gen Z and Gen Alpha are research savvy, and they're looking for transparent costs, real outcomes, and student-centered information architecture. The old prestige messaging and campus life first branding? According to HEMI, that's becoming a liability, especially for online and adult learners.
Exactly. The research points to a new enrollment funnel. AI shapes discovery, but it's human conversation and follow-up that close the loop. The best performing institutions are combining agentic AI, think 24/7 concierge chat, scheduling, and credit evaluation, with human advisors who can handle nuance, build confidence, and supervise the process.
That's where the tension sits. Scale versus trust. Agentic AI can personalize at scale, but only if it's grounded in verified data, retrieval augmented generation, RAG, and human-in-the-loop review. If you let AI run unsupervised, you risk hallucinations and broken trust. If you rely only on humans, you can't meet the speed or volume of modern student expectations.
Let's talk about measurement. The old playbook measured clicks, visits, and inquiry volume. The new standard, as HEMI puts it, is cost per enrolled student, CPE. That means tying marketing spend to actual tuition revenue, not vanity metrics. You need to track early intent signals, post-visit performance, and optimize every channel for qualified demand, applications, and enrollments.
Which means you need to get comfortable with cross-channel attribution, and with the fact that some of your spend will shift from bottom-up funnel keywords to top-up funnel content that builds trust earlier. HEMI's research shows that career earnings guides, scholarship explainers, and authentic student stories can convert far better than just bidding on MBA online or nursing program near me.
Let's pivot to ChatGPT Ads. This is a brand new channel, and it's not a replacement for Google or paid social. According to the latest coverage from Carnegie and HEMI, ChatGPT Ads are paid placements that appear inside the ChatGPT interface itself, right when a user is researching programs, comparing options, or asking enrollment questions.
The strongest fit, at least right now, is for graduate, online, professional, and adult learner segments. These are students who already use conversational AI as part of their research process. The ads are labeled as sponsored, separated from the organic answer, and targeted based on context hints, not just keywords. So, you're reaching high-intent prospects at the moment of active comparison.
But here's the catch. Measurement and attribution are still works in progress. Carnegie recommends treating ChatGPT Ads as a test and learn channel. You're not going to get mature benchmarks or granular targeting out of the gate. Instead, focus on creative alignment, landing page experience, and early engagement signals. Iterate as the platform evolves.
And this isn't just a theoretical recommendation. U.S. institutions can already access the Ads Manager beta. Carnegie is partnering with select schools to scope fit, build strategy, and evaluate outcomes. But the advice is clear: don't expect this to replace your other channels. Use it to reach research-driven prospects who are already asking AI for help making decisions.
Let's not ignore the friction side of the equation. HEMI and HEM both point out that enrollment conversion drops sharply when prospective students hit friction, especially around cost, eligibility, scheduling, and unclear next steps. The playbook now is to answer key questions early, make CTAs prominent, and offer multiple conversion paths.
And let's be honest, tuition transparency is still a mess at a lot of institutions. Students expect to see not just a number, but the full context: fees, deposits, payment options, deadlines, and whether costs are refundable or vary by program. The University of Toronto's approach is a good example. They break down tuition by program, year, course load, and campus, and link to fee schedules and other costs. That level of clarity reduces hesitation and keeps momentum moving.
It's not just about information, it's about the order and delivery. HEMI's research suggests surfacing career impact, learning experience, and cost in the right sequence, so students and families can compare, discuss, and plan before they get lost in forms or application complexity. And don't underestimate the impact of visible CTAs and authentic student and faculty voices. Those build trust when trust is the only real differentiator.
And on pricing, the controversial idea from HEMI is that radical tuition transparency and metro market pricing could lift yield more than spreading incremental scholarships. That's a big claim, but it tracks with what we're seeing in other sectors. People want to understand value, not just get a coupon.
Let's circle back to the technical side for a second. If you want to win in AI-driven discovery, you need to make your content machine-readable and canonical. That means mapping each common question to a single page with atomic facts, tables, named anchors, and a central data index. Clean sitemaps and downloadable data formats are no longer optional if you want to be cited by answer engines.
And don't overlook speed and accessibility. HEMI calls out that slow loading pages, messy navigation, or inaccessible content can block citations and clicks. If your site doesn't load fast on mobile or fails basic accessibility checks, you're not just losing human visitors, you're dropping out of the AI citation ecosystem entirely.
So, what's the actual playbook for enrollment and marketing leaders right now? First, audit your program pages for machine readability and canonical structure. Second, pilot a small ChatGPT Ads test, especially if you serve graduate or adult learners. Third, rewrite your enrollment flows to eliminate friction around cost, eligibility, and next steps. And finally, close the measurement loop by prioritizing cost per enrolled student as your North Star.
And don't forget to monitor what AI is saying about your institution. If ChatGPT, Gemini, or Perplexity are summarizing you incorrectly, fix the source pages and add structured data. AI summarizes what it can cite. If your info is buried in PDFs or split across microsites, you're not just hard to find, you're impossible to trust.
Let's talk about the human side for a moment. Combining agentic AI with human advisors is not just about scale, it's about equity and speed. HEMI suggests that letting AI handle first-line advising, credit evaluations, and scheduling, with humans supervising, may improve both equity and decision speed versus human-only workflows. But the caveat is clear: AI needs to be grounded in verified data and subject to human review.
And that's not a minor point. The moment AI answers go unchecked, you risk hallucinations, bias, or just plain bad advice. Human oversight isn't a formality, it's the safeguard that keeps your brand credible when AI is the first touch point. And let's admit, anyone who's seen a chatbot recommend a completely wrong major knows that's not just a hypothetical risk.
There's also a shift in what counts as good content. HEMI's take is that content now needs to be both precise for machines and compelling for humans. That's a tough balance. Your program pages need to answer specific questions with atomic facts and structured data, but they also need to hook skimmers, build trust, and route visitors deeper in the journey. If a paragraph fills a phone screen, it might as well be invisible.
Which brings us to the last big takeaway: marketing and admissions can't operate in silos anymore. The institutions seeing the best results are aligning their content, outreach, and follow-up around a single goal: qualified, converted students. That means tight handoffs, shared KPIs, and a willingness to rethink what channels and content actually move the needle.
So, to sum up, AI answer engines are now the front door to college discovery. Winning that moment requires radical clarity, machine-readable content, and a real commitment to trust and transparency. ChatGPT ads are worth testing for high-intent audiences, but don't expect miracles overnight. And if you're not measuring to cost per enrolled student, you're managing the wrong funnel.
And if you take nothing else from today, let it be this: trust is now the only mode. If you're not the source AI can cite, you're not even in the conversation. The institutions that get this right, combining technical excellence, authentic content, and frictionless enrollment, will win both the clicks and the commitments. Everyone else is just background noise.
That's all for this episode of Higher Education Marketing Insider. For more research, how-to guides, and actionable insights, check out the Higher Education Marketing Institute. Start your week by auditing your program pages, piloting a ChatGPT ads test, and rewriting your enrollment flows to cut friction. We'll be back next time with more practical strategies and a few more rare sides.
And if you're feeling overwhelmed by the pace of change, join the club. But remember, the playbook is being rewritten in real time. The only way to win is to ship, measure, and adapt. See you next time.
Let's dig deeper into what it takes to actually become a trusted AI citation. HEMI's guidance is clear. Being machine readable isn't just a technical checklist. It's a mindset shift for content teams. Instead of thinking about your website as a digital brochure, start treating it as a structured data feed for AI systems, students, and parents alike. That means every core program question, cost, career outcomes, prerequisites, deadlines, needs a single, authoritative answer, not a scavenger hunt.
But here's where the rubber meets the road. Not every institution has the resources or the political will to overhaul their content operations. Centralizing program data sounds great until you ask 3 different departments to agree on what tuition actually means, or which outcomes to publish. There's real friction in making content both canonical and current. And when you add in decentralized governance, think business schools, engineering, continuing ed all running their own sites, the data gets even messier.
That's a fair point. The operational reality is that many schools are still wrestling with legacy CMS platforms, outdated PDFs, and content owners who see their section of the site as sacred ground. But the institutions that are breaking through, often the ones seeing the biggest gains in AI-driven discovery, are the ones that put in the work to consolidate, structure, and publish their facts in a way that's both accessible and citable. It's not glamorous work, but it's what earns the citation.
And the stakes are only getting higher. HEMI's recent coverage connects the dots. If your program data is split across microsites, or buried in a PDF from 2022, you're not just hard for students to find, you're invisible to the answer engines. That invisibility doesn't just cost you rankings, it costs you actual applications. And with AI overviews and chatbots becoming the default front door, the gap between the institutions that are findable and those that aren't will only widen.
Let's shift to how this impacts graduate and adult learner recruitment, since that's where ChatGPT ads are making waves. Carnegie's analysis highlights that these audiences are already using AI as a research tool, asking nuanced questions like which online MBA programs fit a working parent's schedule or what's the ROI for a cybersecurity master's. Institutions that show up as sponsored placements in those moments are meeting high intent prospects at the exact point of decision.
But is that always a good thing? There's a risk that we over-index on new channels just because they're shiny. The reach of ChatGPT ads is still limited compared to Google or Meta, and the targeting is more like a blunt instrument than a scalpel. Carnegie is right to recommend a test-and-learn approach, but I'd argue that for many schools, the bigger win is still in tightening up their organic answer engine visibility and making sure their data is actually accurate before adding another paid layer.
Absolutely. Paid placements can't fix broken basics. If your program page doesn't answer the question, the ad just accelerates the disappointment. But there's a strategic advantage in being early to these new AI-native channels. Institutions that learn how to align their creative, landing pages, and conversion flows for the conversational context of ChatGPT will build muscle memory that pays off as the platform matures. Early adopters are already getting a sense of what messaging resonates and what falls flat.
And let's not forget the measurement challenge. Attribution for ChatGPT ads is still a moving target. There's no mature funnel reporting, no clear benchmarks, and the platform's own analytics are evolving week by week. If you're expecting to prove ROI in the same way as paid search, you'll be frustrated. Instead, the smart move is to treat these campaigns as pilots. Focus on qualitative feedback, engagement signals, and post-click behavior, not just cost per inquiry or click-through rate.
That's where tying spend to cost per enrolled student, CPE, becomes so important. HEMI's research is blunt. If you're still optimizing for cost per click or even cost per inquiry, you're missing the real signal. The only metric that closes the loop is CPE. That means tracking the entire journey from first touch, whether it's AI, search, social, or paid chat, through to actual enrollment and tuition revenue. It's not easy, but it's the only way to know what's actually working.
And that tracking gets complicated quickly, especially when you start layering in agentic AI, chatbots, and human advisors. The best performing schools are investing in CRM integrations, journey analytics, and post-visit attribution to tie every marketing and advising touch back to enrollment. It's not just about the tools, it's about operational discipline. If marketing and admissions are still fighting over territory, you're going to lose students between the cracks.
Let's talk about friction in the enrollment journey, since that's a recurring theme in both HEMI and HEM's research. Tuition quote friction, in particular, is a silent killer of conversion. Diana Salazar's work points out that students don't make decisions in a straight line. They compare programs, weigh costs, check eligibility, and often get stuck when the pricing or payment process gets murky. Every pause is an opportunity for them to open another tab, email a competitor, or just give up.
The University of Toronto's approach is a good benchmark here. Instead of presenting a single tuition number, they break out costs by program, year, course load, and campus, and link directly to fee schedules and payment options. They surface deposit policies, additional fees, and even refundability. That level of specificity isn't just helpful, it's a trust signal. Prospective students and their families want to know what's due, when, and why. If you hide the ball, you're just inviting them to look elsewhere.
And the best schools aren't just dumping all this information in a table. They're sequencing it. Career impact first, then learning experience, then cost, then the application process. HEMI's research suggests that the order matters as much as the content. If you led with forms or deadlines before building value, you're asking students to commit before they're convinced. And that's where friction compounds.
But let's be real, most institutions haven't cracked this yet. Too often, the tuition page is a wall of numbers, the application flow is a series of hoops, and the only CTA is a generic apply now. HEMI's guidance is to offer multiple conversion paths, chat, email, call, or even a quick eligibility quiz, and to surface real student and faculty voices. Authenticity wins trust, and trust is what moves hesitant prospects forward.
Let's pivot to the technical side again. Speed, accessibility, and mobile-first design are now table stakes for earning both AI citations and human engagement. If your program page takes more than a couple of seconds to load, or if the navigation is a maze, you're not just losing applicants, you're dropping out of the AI answer ecosystem. HEMI calls out that slow or inaccessible pages are effectively invisible to both bots and students.
And accessibility is more than just compliance. It's about making sure your content is usable by everyone, everywhere. That means alt text, readable fonts, keyboard navigation, and logical page structure. If you're relying on PDFs or non-responsive layouts, you're not just risking a lawsuit, you're limiting your reach in an increasingly mobile, AI-mediated world.
Which brings us to the new definition of good content. HEMI's take is that content needs to be both precise and skimmable. That means short, punchy answers for AI and mobile users, with deeper dives available for those who want them. If your program description reads like a novel, you're losing both the bots and the humans. Instead, think in layers, headline facts, quick stats, then the narrative details.
And don't underestimate the power of student-centered storytelling. According to HEMI's branding and content research, authentic student and faculty voices aren't just nice to have, they're conversion drivers. Prospects want to see themselves in your stories. That means video testimonials, day-in-the-life features, and real outcomes, not just headshots and stock photos. Schools that invest in content operations to surface these voices consistently see higher engagement and trust.
There's also a growing consensus that campus life-first branding is losing its edge, especially for online and adult learners. HEMI's June 2026 roundup makes the case that leading with outcomes, flexibility, and digital experience is now essential. The old playbook of glossy campus shots and prestige messaging is being outperformed by radical transparency on costs, outcomes, and career connections.
But there's a risk in swinging too far in the other direction. If every institution is touting ROI and flexibility, the differentiator becomes trust and specificity. Who's actually delivering on their promises? Who can prove it with data, alumni stories, and clear pathways? The schools that can back up their claims with structured, citable facts and real voices will stand out. The rest risk blending into an undifferentiated sea of career-ready claims.
Let's touch on operations for a moment. The institutions that are winning in this new environment are the ones that have tight marketing to admissions handoffs, shared CRM visibility, and a focus on outcomes over vanity. That means tracking every interaction, from AI chat to in-person visit, and making sure nothing falls through the cracks. It also means investing in content management and operations so updates happen quickly and consistently.
And consistency is key. HEMI's branding research points out that unified messaging across channels, web, email, social, chat, builds trust and reduces confusion. If your program page says one thing, your chatbot says another, and your paid ad promises something else, you're not just confusing students, you're undermining your own credibility. Consistency doesn't mean boring. It means dependable.
So, what can enrollment and marketing leaders actually do this quarter? First, audit your program pages for machine readability, structured data, and canonical answers. Second, test ChatGPT Ads if your audience aligns, but don't expect instant results. Third, rewrite your key enrollment flows to cut friction, especially around cost and eligibility. And finally, shift your measurement to cost per enrolled student and enrollment outcomes, not just clicks or inquiries.
And don't forget the human factor. Combining agentic AI with human advisors isn't just a tech upgrade, it's a service promise. AI can handle first-line questions, scheduling, and credit evaluation, but humans need to supervise and step in for nuance. The best results come from blending speed and scale with empathy and expertise. It's not either or, it's both. Supervised and measured.
One last point. Keep monitoring what AI is saying about your institution. If there are gaps, inaccuracies, or outdated summaries, fix the source content and add structured data. AI only knows what it can cite. If your info is inconsistent, buried, or missing, you're not just missing out on citations, you're missing out on students. Regular audits and updates are now a core part of the marketing and enrollment playbook.
And if you're looking for practical tools, the AI website grader from Search Influence can help you benchmark your site's content structure, technical health, and AI readiness. It's not a silver bullet, but it gives you a prioritized list of what to fix, from heading hierarchy to structured data. Use it to focus your team's efforts where they'll have the most impact.
Final thought. This is not a one-and-done project. The pace of change in AI-driven search and enrollment is only accelerating. Institutions that build flexible, data-driven operations and keep their teams aligned around trust, clarity, and measurable outcomes will stay ahead. The rest will keep playing catch-up, or worse, become invisible in the moments that matter.
So, whether you're leading marketing, enrollment, or both, the message is clear. Invest in canonical content. Test emerging channels with discipline. Cut friction wherever students might hesitate, and measure what truly matters. And remember, trust is built one clear answer and one authentic story at a time. Everything else is just noise. See you next episode.